All right, everybody, get ready because today we are going deep on Moflin, this AI pet that's like super popular in Japan. And you guys sent in a ton of great info about it, articles, the official Casio Moflin website. I mean, seriously, menus and specs and FAQs everywhere. So we are here to like cut through all the fluff and really figure out what makes Moflin different. Is it actually more than just a cute robot? How does it learn? How does it grow? Could this even be like the future of companionship?
Such good questions.
Yeah,
Well, let's unpack the brains behind Moflin first. It's actually made by Casio. Yeah, the calculator and watch company.
I know, right? You wouldn't exactly expect them to be like the pioneers of cuddly AI pets.
Exactly. But think about it, though. Casio, they're experts in miniaturization, right? That's what lets Moflin have these really subtle, lifelike movements. They've managed to pack all these complex sensors into this tiny little cuddly package. I mean, it even won a Best of Innovation award at CES just a few years ago.
Okay, so it's high tech, it's award winning, but what really caught my eye on the website was this whole emphasis on emotions. Wait, are they saying this robot actually has feelings?
Well, not feelings in the way that we think about human feelings, but this is where the AI magic comes in. Moflin's emotions are actually these complex algorithms that like constantly evolve based on how you interact with it.
So it's not like feeling emotions, it's more like simulating them based on how it's programmed.
Exactly. It's this constantly running feedback loop.
Mm.
So every time you pet Moflin, you talk to it, you even just look at it, its algorithms are analyzing your behavior and then adjusting its responses. And get this, Moflin even develops moods that shift over time.
Wait, moods, like it can be happy 1 minute and then like grumpy the next?
Exactly. The website gives some examples. It can be playful and energetic, and then sleepy and quiet, and then even a little bit grumpy if it feels neglected, just like a real pet.
Whoa, that's way beyond what I expected. So it's not just like pre-programmed responses. Moflin is actually learning and adapting its emotional range based on its own experiences.
Yeah, and that brings us to this other really fascinating aspect, growth. The website has this cool timeline that shows how Moflin develops from like day 1 to day 50 and beyond.
Yeah, the growth section blew my mind. At first, Moflin's responses are pretty basic, but by day 25, it starts showing a wider range of emotions. You even see like these early signs of it bonding with its owner.
And by day 50, it's like a whole new Moflin. More emotions, more personality, just keeps evolving.
And here's the really crazy part. No two Moflins are exactly the same. So my Moflin could end up having a totally different personality from yours depending on how we interact with them.
Absolutely. Just like with real pets, Moflin's personality is shaped by how it's treated and the environment that it's raised in. You could end up with a playful Moflin, a shy Moflin, a cuddly Moflin. The possibilities are kind of endless.
Okay, I am officially intrigued, but this brings up a whole new question for me. If each Moflin develops so differently, does that mean it can actually learn things that weren't even in its original programming?
That's the million-dollar question. It really suggests that Moflin is not just a toy that reacts in these predictable ways. It's more like a dynamic, ever-evolving system that could even surprise us.
Okay, my mind needs a minute to process all of this.
Take your time. It is a lot to take in. But while you're processing, I do want to highlight that Moflin isn't just about, like, fun and games. The website makes a big point of how it can actually provide comfort and companionship, especially for people who might be feeling lonely or isolated.
Yeah, it specifically mentions the elderly and people who live alone.
Makes sense given Moflin's small size. It's like having this constant source of comfort that you can take with you anywhere. You don't have to worry about leaving it at home like a pet. It can be your little buddy 24/7.
Okay, speaking of which, let's talk about Moflin maintenance. How do you actually care for this little AI companion? Do I have to give it like tiny robot baths?
Not baths exactly, but Casio does offer these optional Moflin salon services. Think of it like a spa day for your robot buddy.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Tell me more.
Well, they have a shampoo and blow dry service to keep its fur clean and fluffy. And they even have a fur renewal service where they replace the fur entirely.
Wait, you can get new fur for your Moflin, so it's always looking fresh and fabulous. I'm already picturing all the different colors and textures.
They've thought of everything. And to top it all off, there's a subscription service called Club Moflin. It offers discounts on those spa treatments and repair services. Plus, they're hinting at exclusive features and content just for members in the future.
Hold on, repair services? You mean my Moflin could like break this adorable little fluff ball? I'm suddenly feeling a little anxious.
Don't worry, it's more about preventative care and peace of mind. Like with any technology, there's always that chance something could go wrong. And Club Moflin makes sure that you have access to support if you need it. Plus, it seems like they're constantly working on new features and updates, which is pretty exciting.
Okay, that makes me feel better. But this brings up another question. If Moflin can learn and adapt and even get repaired, does that blur the lines between a sophisticated toy and something more?
That is a great question, and it's one we'll be exploring further as we continue our deep dive into the world of Moflin.
Okay, so we've established that Moflin is high-tech, it's adorable, and surprisingly complex. But this whole conversation about AI and emotions has me thinking, is Moflin really just like a super sophisticated toy? Or could it actually provide that genuine companionship that the website talks about?
A really good question,
Yeah.
and it's one that a lot of people are asking is these social robots,
Hmm.
you know,
Right.
as they become more advanced. Can a robot truly replace the bond that we have with living creatures? It's a really fascinating debate, and there are no easy answers.
So what are people saying? Are they excited about these AI companions or are they a little bit wary?
It's kind of a mixed bag.
Mm.
Some people are totally thrilled about the possibilities, especially for folks who
Hmm.
really could use some extra emotional support. Like imagine someone who's lonely, who's isolated. Mifflin could really provide a sense of comfort and connection for them.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's like having a little buddy who's always happy to see you. No judgment, no drama, just pure companionship.
Exactly. But there are some valid concerns too. Some experts worry that relying too much on AI companions could actually lead to even more social isolation in the long run.
Really? I would think that having any kind of companion would encourage interaction, not discourage it.
It is kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But the argument is that if we spend too much time with a robot that's basically programmed to always agree with us and not be demanding, that it might actually become harder to connect with real people. Human relationships are messy. They require effort and compromise, which is something that a robot can't really replicate.
Yeah, that's a really thought-provoking point. It's like we're stepping into this totally uncharted territory and we don't even fully understand the long-term consequences yet.
Exactly. And it's not even just about the social implications. There are ethical considerations too.
Right. Like, should we really be giving robots this much influence over our emotions? This
Right?
feels like we're wading into some deep philosophical waters here.
We are. And again, there's no simple answer. Take attachment, for example. It might sound strange, but studies show that people can form genuine bonds with robots, especially ones that are designed to be really social and expressive like Moflin. So what happens if your Moflin needs to be repaired or worse yet becomes obsolete? That could be really upsetting.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not like you're just replacing some broken gadget. If you've developed a real connection with your Moflin, that loss could be like genuinely felt.
Right. And it raises all these questions for the people designing social robots. Like, how do you create something that provides this companionship without maybe causing heartache down the line? It's a tough balance to strike.
This really makes you think. On the one hand, the comfort that Moflin offers is kind of amazing. But on the other hand, could we actually become so reliant on AI companionship that we lose touch with real human connection? That's a question I think we all really need to consider.
It's a big one. And I think ultimately it comes down to individual choice. Each person has to decide what level of AI interaction feels right for them.
So even with all these ethical questions swirling around, you can see why people are still so fascinated by Moflin.
Absolutely. It's hard not to be drawn in by that
Yeah.
cuteness and, the promise of a personalized AI friend. But it's important to remember the bigger picture.
You're right. Moflin is more than just a product. It's like a symbol of how rapidly AI is evolving and how it's starting to connect with some of our most basic human needs. Connection, companionship. It's pretty mind-blowing.
It is. And that's really what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We're not just talking about some cute robot here. We're talking about the future of our relationship with technology and how technology might even reshape our understanding of what it means to be human.
Whoa. That's getting pretty deep. I think I need a moment to process all of that.
Take your time. We've got more to unpack as we continue our Moflin deep dive.
Okay, we are back for the final part of our Moflin deep dive, and my brain is officially buzzing with all these ideas about AI companions, the future of technology. It's a lot.
It really gets you thinking, doesn't it? We've
Yeah.
gone from exploring Moflin's surprisingly complex inner workings to pondering some pretty profound questions about our relationship with technology.
Totally. Before we wrap up, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
the idea that Moflin is more than just a product. It's a symbol of where we're headed as a society. What exactly did you mean by that?
Well, I think Moflin's popularity really highlights this growing desire for connection in a world that can feel, increasingly isolating.
Yeah, totally. Between our hectic schedules and constant digital distractions and the pressure to always be on, it's easy to feel disconnected even when you're surrounded by people.
Exactly. And that's where these AI companions like Moflin come in. They offer this sense of presence of being heard and understood, but without all the complexities and demands that come with human relationships.
It's like having a friend who's always there for you no matter what. No judgment, no drama, just pure companionship.
It's a powerful concept, and I think it's only going to become more appealing as AI technology keeps advancing.
So you're saying Moflin is just the beginning. Like, we're going to see even more sophisticated AI companions in the future.
I think it's inevitable. As AI gets better at understanding and responding to human emotions, we're going to see this whole new generation of companions that are even more lifelike and engaging.
Wow, that's both exciting and a little daunting. Imagine a world where AI companions are as commonplace as smartphones. It's mind-boggling.
It is. And it raises all sorts of questions about the future of work relationships, maybe even the very definition of what it means to be human.
Okay, now my brain is really buzzing. I need a minute to unpack all that. But